Hi, everyone. I'm John Waterhouse. Welcome to Weekday Wisdom. It's May 14th, and my question for you today is, what's most important to you? It's easy to see that the world is changing. I don't know anyone who thinks the way the world was just a few weeks ago, let's say January, February, that world is coming back. It's not coming back. Something different is going to emerge from what's happening in the world, from this pandemic, and from all that we're facing in our lives right now. The world is changing. And when the world changes, that means that we're changing too. The advantage we have as students of the science of mind is that we have the ability to monitor that change and to choose how we change as we go forward. Most people think they just have to go with the flow. They have to do it the way everybody else is doing it. But that's not so. We all are at choice, and when we know we're at choice, we can do it consciously and make the changes to our lives in ways that make life better instead of making life more challenging or different for the sake of different. So what I've observed over the past few weeks is that as the world has changed, as we've moved into this pandemic experience, the first thing I saw was people in this mode of, I got to get mine. The people who were looking with frantic weirdness for how they could be safe in the midst of this. I remember going into a grocery store one day, and there was a woman ahead of me, and she came marching into the entryway of the store. She took a cart. She went over to the dispenser of the sanitizing wipes, and she didn't pull one out. She looked like the magician who was pulling out cloth tied to itself inside a hat, pulling and pulling and pulling, and finally ripped it off and started swabbing all over this cart that she had chosen. And then she marched off into the store. I saw her a few minutes later in the store, and her cart was packed to the ceiling with toilet paper. Remember that? Toilet paper was the first thing that we realized, obviously, we needed to survive. And there was a nationwide, at least in the United States, a nationwide shortage of toilet paper. Of course, we've passed that, and the supply chain has revived the ability for us to have toilet paper, so that's not a problem anymore. What that have mine survival mode seems to have been the first phase that we went through with this. And I think things have settled down a bit since then, and that people are acting a little differently. Some kind of a different energy is emerging from this now. And what I see, and I've experienced it firsthand, I had a little cancerous tumor taken off my skin, my face, a couple of weeks ago. And when I was done, I realized it was mid-afternoon and I hadn't eaten. So I went through a drive-through to get something to eat. And when I got up to the window, the woman hands me my food and says that the person in front of me had paid for it. Well, they were long gone, and I didn't even notice it was ahead of me. But the feeling of that is that some people are remembering to be generous in the midst of this thing where so many people are looking at what they need for survival. And that really touched my heart and meant a lot to me. I had another situation where I went to the grocery store and managed to forget to bring my wallet. So, and I'm at the checkout line, and I've already put all of the items through the scanner into the bag. And I went over to the clerk that was there, because the self-checkouts all have someone working there. And I explained to the person that I had forgotten my wallet and that I needed to go home. Could I leave my groceries there at his station so that I could go and get my wallet and come back and pay for it? And at that moment, someone stepped up, and I realized very quickly they were an employee at this grocery store, and they worked in the produce department. And I'd never seen them before, but he said, "Let me pay for your groceries." And I thought for a moment. I said, "Well, that's more than $10. And he handed me a $20 bill and said, "Give me the change." And I was stunned. In that moment of my being a little hectic and a little disjointed, someone I had no idea they were was willing to pay for my groceries, and he offered to pay for my groceries without really knowing how much I'd spent, which was all the more fascinating to me. So these kind of things are happening to me, and what I've decided is that I want to bring that kind of energy of generosity into the world right now. It kind of shakes things up. And that's where we are right now. We're in a shake-up mode. We're shaking up the way we've always done things so that something new, something exciting can emerge. And the best way to do this is to do it consciously, to do it in a way that we get what we're doing and that we know who we are and that we're moving forward in our lives to make it a better world. There's a little sign that sits out in the exit driveway of our center that says, now go make the world a better place. Meaning that if you come to this place and you learn something about yourself, you learn how to have that better life, go make it happen out there. And we shouldn't ever think that we don't make a difference in the world, that we're just one person in a world of billions of people. I want you to know you do make a difference. You make an important difference. The world would not be the same without you. And this is an opportunity for you to break through this limiting notion that you are insignificant in the world. You are significant in the world. When you touch someone's life, that makes a difference in their life, and then they can touch someone else's life and make a difference in theirs. And pretty soon we've touched a lot of lives in a lot of wonderful ways. So this is a time for us to review our values, to figure out what is important to us and act on it, to make sure that we're engaged in a world that is being structured according to what's important to us. And that doesn't leave anybody else out. That lets everybody find their own way. But I guarantee you that most people right now are feeling the inconvenience of this thing called the coronavirus and this thing called a pandemic. They're feeling the pinch of it. They're feeling the restriction and the restraint of it. And I'm inviting you to reach beyond those limits into something that's really wonderful and to exercise who you are out into the world in a way that makes a difference. What is important to you makes a difference in the world. And this is your opportunity, while things are all garbled and crazy, to do that. We're seeing things like our healthcare workers being acknowledged as heroes. There have been a lot of people in healthcare work for a long time that were never called heroes. And right now, many of them are considered the people that are making a true difference in how we do this pandemic and how we live our lives as a society and how we structure ourselves. So, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's lots of people that are stepping out and doing incredible things. And I want to make sure that you and I are doing the same thing, that we are touching the world in a powerful way and saying, pandemic or no, I'm going to live in a loving, friendly world. I'm going to live in a world where people can commune and connect and support one another and believe in one another. That's the kind of world that I want to create. And I invite you to join me. So what's important to you? What's important to be revealed in your life that will make a difference right where you are and then make ripples out into the rest of the world? This is your opportunity to do that. And I'm right there with you. So have a fantastic day. Know who you are and do something wonderful for yourself and others. Thank you. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.